Hey guys, welcome back to the God is Within Her podcast. I'm your God's sis, Chelsea. Today we are going to talk about the partnership between us and God. Last episode I mentioned the partnership, and I really want to dive deep in the partnership because God is working for us in the spiritual realm, and we have to be working here in the natural. That means our actions, our moves have to be in alignment in what He's guiding us. Because ultimately, God, it's His will, it's His purpose. We're the vessel. And so He's leading our charge. He's leading it. However, the actual walk of it is a partnership. 3 things to remember about your partnership with God. Number 1, it's God's will. It's not your will, it's God's will. So that means that it's God's purpose. You're the vessel. You are to be used. Don't get caught up in abusing the power of prayer. It's a powerful thing, but don't try and control it. We can have a tendency to pray like for certain things that we think is good, but we don't know if it's good for the whole situation. We don't know if it's good for God's plan. We don't know if that bad thing had to happen because God had something good. So when we pray, when I pray, I try to focus on whatever I'm praying on. I don't say like, oh, whatever I think is good or bad. So like, for example, when I sprained my ankle, I'm praying for strength to get better. However, I'm like, God, in your timing, I don't know what your timing is. I don't know what me being handicapped for this temporary time is keeping me from. So God, give me strength in my ability and give me strength in my mental to be able to be still. So that's an example of how we just surrender to God's will because it's God's purpose. And the reason why we do that is because we love God. I love God. You don't love God? What's wrong with you? Like, that's serious. Period. Surrender is God's will. Number 2, the next thing to remember is it's God's timing. Okay, I just mentioned about how when I prayed for my ankle, I prayed with the intention of letting it be His timing, whatever that may be, not me controlling it for a speedy recovery or a fast recovery, because we think that that's the injury is what needs to be solved. No, it's everything around what the injury is. Like, you're the injury, but it's making you sit down. So what is the purpose in that? And it's also going to affect the people around you. So what is God showing you about the people around you in that season, that time? It's God's timing, okay? Talk to God. I mentioned in one of the first episodes about the importance of your intimacy with God and spending that alone time with God. If you have not listened to it, please go back to the Faith Foundation episode, and that's where I really went in depth about the prayer closet and having somewhere to really talk to God. For me, the hardest part is the wait. The hardest part is the wait. Well, one of the hardest parts. The wait is hard for me because I struggle with patience. So it doesn't come easy. But you know what helps with that is God will place people in your life. God will place people in your life. The words, the actions, they will affirm you. And they'll be in a way that you only know, because only you know what you've been praying to God. So when these things come up, you're like, whoa, pay attention. Because only you can recall those prayers and have that affirmation. Number 3, trust God. Don't try and manipulate it for your purpose. Really, truly surrender to God for His purpose. And if you need help trying to find that purpose and what you are surrendering to, please go back to the previous episode called Find Your Purpose. John 14:13 says, "And I will do whatever you ask in my name, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son." Period. I was talking about Jesus, but it's the same about us. So that God may be glorified in the Son, the child, me, you. That is you. Okay? And let's not forget about the preliminary part, which is saying we will do whatever he asks. Whatever he asks, we will do because we trust him that much. So 3 things to remember in your partnership with God. Number 1, it's God's will. Don't try and control, don't try and manipulate the power of prayer. Number 2, God's timing. Talk to God. Get a nice intimate place for him and be transparent in your struggles. And remember, God will place people in your life, so be mindful. Don't let your previous trauma hold you back from your current blessings. But the great thing about it is God's always going to come back for us. That's Romans 8:28. All things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Okay? And lastly, number 3, trust God. Trust him. Surrender completely. Walk in faith. Yeah, we're all working on it. Walk in faith. God is not your sugar daddy. You don't just go to him when stuff is bad. You go to him at all times, even when you're in your season of abundance. Okay? Trust and know that God has the best for you. Soulful food for thought. Here's your question. Identify the areas of your life in which fear is crippling your progress. Think about it. All right, that's it for now. I'll see you next time. Bye. Make sure you're subscribed to the show so you don't miss when we post the next episode.